Scheduled meeting of the Rochester Downtown Development Authority for Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. Madam Director, the roll, please.
Ben Giovanelli.
Present.
Mayor Salvia.
Here.
Bob Bloomingdale.
Here.
Tanya Karsten.
Here.
Eric Diana. Bob DiTomaso.
Here.
Lisa Germani Williams.
Here.
Paul Haig.
Here.
Roger Knapp.
Yes.
Tony LaPuma.
Here.
Don Sinkowitz.
Here.
Marilyn Trent.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Fantastic. We have a quorum plus. Thank you for coming out on this frigid evening. I was just talking to the ladies earlier. I'm hopeful and optimistic. This was our last sub-zero week of the year. But, of course, because I said that, it won't be, so I apologize in advance. All I know is I've got chunks of ice in my car that are making weird sounds, and I can't quite do anything about it. So, oh, there's Eric. Good evening, sir.
There we go.
There he is.
Just in time. All right, first thing on the agenda, approval of the meeting minutes from January 15th, 2025. Any questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Haig. Support?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, support by Lots. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, audience comments. Maybe the crickets theme. If anybody here this evening? Well, Jeremy, it's not that you're not anybody. It's just, you know. Liaison reports. The Honorable Marilyn Trent, City Council. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Happy cold Wednesday,
Burr.
but it's good for the plants and nature, so it's a happy day for
Right.
these and those bugs not to come back.
Right.
All right. So that's not my report, though. My report actually is.
It's actually the more fun report.
That's the fun report. Kill the bugs, the ones that are bad. So January 27th, we had a presentation of the quarterly financial report. And the update was that it is a balanced fourth quarter budget and there are no red flags. So that's a good news. The fire department, the grant department, they had been a year since they had applied for the 2024 BRICS grant requesting funds to conduct engineering for the flood mitigation in parts of the city. They worked with the state of the Michigan Emergency Management multiple times during 2024, gave them all the information they wanted, and good news was the city is now accepting the fact the grant is $94,147.50.
Sweet.
Yep. Then you gotta fix the flooding.
Yeah, right. Well,
That costs
All
more.
right, but
it's actually marketing expense for others.
Yeah,
So.
you got baby steps,
Right.
right? The first $100,000 step. And on February 10th, the council is continuing to iron out details for the 2025 and 2026 budget. The good news is it's looking good. Anthony and Amaggio and Marcy Muriwaki have gone back and forth a few times, and they came back with a budget that's in the black and looking good. We've approved lots and lots of events, as we know. We approve events, they just come along, and we're happy to have other other people come in and do events as well. So now we're going to put them in one spot, the events calendar and the city
Perfect.
website.
Excellent.
Instead of me filtering through, trying to figure out, where was that event? What did I approve?
I think it's live, it's out there.
Yeah, so if you want to know, it's all there. So there will be an Arbor Day event on April 22nd to plant the first tree, or the mother tree, we call it. It's a native red oak in the mini forest that will be behind the community garden, and planting day is May 3rd. There will be an elite group of people we will invite to do the planting, and then we will let others come and enjoy the what we've done later that day. It starts at 1 for the planting, then 1 to 4, and then at 4 the ribbon cutting. Then we have a celebration, kind of like a barn raising.
Perfect.
In other words, a mini forest raising.
Excellent.
That's it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that update. Any questions for our city council liaison? Seeing none, we shall march forward. Chamber of Commerce, Mr. DiTomaso.
So Maggie had nothing for us tonight.
Oh, well,
Not even
good for Maggie.
Community Outlook?
Quick and to the
No, that's not them, right? Is it Community Outlook?
Community
That
Outlook.
is coming up. She didn't mention it, but Community Outlook Breakfast is a week from Friday, I think.
February 28th.
February
The theme is Saturday Night Live, 50 years.
Oh, boy.
You might laugh once or twice, I promise you.
Okay.
We filmed the skits.
That's all the 50th
Oh,
really.
dear.
We filmed the skit.
Oh, dear.
You may, I am in the skit.
I have to come now.
I'm just telling you, may laugh.
All right, we'll get ready.
I will rearrange my calendar to just to be there for that.
Or watch the video later on YouTube.
Right, yes, well, there's that as well. All right, fantastic. Thank you for that report, we appreciate it. Historical Commission, Mr. Sienkiewicz, good evening.
Good evening. In your packet, Christie, thank you for including the letter that we sent to the second grade teachers in the Rochester Community Schools describing what Founder's Day is all about. And the letter is actually very good. It's has some historical value to it. It talks about James Graham, and when he came to Rochester in March 17th, 1817. It also talks about what will go on March 23rd at the Rochester Museum. We'll have, at the Calf Barn, we'll have a guest speaker, Carol Igbo, I believe that's the way you pronounce her name. She's a Oakland County historian. She'll talk about the indigenous people that lived in this area. We'll also have a bagpipe person playing, Yolanda McDonald. She'll play. She played last year at the Heritage Festival, and that was very entertaining for sure. We'll also have the Shannon Irish Dance Academy performing at the event. Also, Robert will be presenting. He'll be there to sign any of the DUR books from the railroad, and also there will be desserts and refreshments for that. They asked that you sign up through Eventbrite. Sorry. And that way they'll have an idea of how many people are going to attend the festival. Also, the Rochester Lions Club has announced that they will have a single-day car show during the Memorial Day weekend on Saturday, May 24th. So I'm not sure at this point if it will be in the same area or in a different area in the Rochester Park. But they will have it only be a single day, not 2 days. And they'll also have their Rockin' Robins car show in the downtown area later on in the year. And that's about it. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you for that, and thank you for the shout out for the James Graham, so everybody kind of builds into, what's going on in the community. So it's fantastic. Any questions for our Historical Commission liaison? Seeing none, thank you for your report, we appreciate it. Principal Shopping District, Mr. Haig.
Okay, first of all, we got a good event calendar going this year. Second of all, the farmer's market is going to have to change and go to which?
So we have a request into City Council for Monday night with the construction, which Ben's going to get into, we're getting there, we were told that really it's going to make things a lot more efficient if we move the farmer's market for the season, so that way we're not in the way of construction, not holding anything up, so we would be smooth sailing. So we have a proposal that was approved by PSD and will be reviewed by City Council on Monday to move to the upper level of the east parking platform. So we would be there for the season, and we're hoping that'll generate some revenue for the lower parking lot of people coming to visit the market. But that'll be Monday at City Council, so I'll report back if we were successful.
And I've done events there. It's a very large space. It's very good and very airy, and I think it'll be very adequate for the farmer's market. We also have the assessment, Oakland County assessment, which we already did, and we think it passed.
Yep, had our Oakland County accreditation a couple weeks ago. We'll find out next month if we are fully accredited. It will be our 20th year if we are. So John Brown will be getting back with us, and we'll be scheduling him to come to do a presentation for the board.
And I think that's about it. Is there anything else?
The PSD renewal is coming up, and so the board discussed rates and ideas for the upcoming renewal, and they're going to be reviewing the PSD role at their next meeting, and then that'll be going forward to City Council for a public hearing to be set, and then continuing down the exciting road that is PSD renewal. So to be continued on that one.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. Any questions for our Principal Shopping District liaison? Seeing none, marching forward. All right, segueing into the Market Graham update. So just really quick, last Wednesday night, we were supposed to be here to do goals and objectives. So because of the snow, and thank God I did, it ended up being a snow emergency. You can even park on the streets. So we tacked it onto the agenda this evening. So my report on the Graham will be my regular update, but kind of also thinking about that towards goals and objectives as well, just this is the evening where we talk about spend priorities and projects and that sort of thing. So, all right, so with that, I beg your attention for a minute. I've got, really quick, so we've met twice at the architect's firm, right? So I want to thank Tony and Bob and Roger for their help on this. Without you guys, I would just be, wandering in the forest by myself. So this has been fantastic, and I appreciate really good input, really good dialogue, and it really, pays to have guys that are in the business because they know where all the bones are buried. So it's been super helpful in that regard. So we've met twice. We had affectionately referred to as a page turn a week ago Tuesday to kind of go through sort of everything. And as we did that, we were pointed out areas that were, tracking fine. And then also, too, we were told that as they started doing demo, they discovered that the siding actually is not in very good shape at all, and it has to be replaced. It's the kind of thing you're not going to know until you start tearing stuff apart. So we went ahead and had them provide us some guidance on that. I don't have those numbers yet, because we just met on, and they're redoing their drawings right now. But I wanted to give you guys that, and I've also got a tentative schedule for you. So, so based on the discussions that we've done so far, we've made some changes, and you will note them pretty quickly. So we'll go through it one by one, but the main thing is the siding. So currently at present, it's basically a steel pole barn that's, I don't know, a jillion years old. It's got holes all over the place in the siding, but the brick below it was from the early 90s, and it's sort of falling forward. So this is, if you look at there now, there's like a brick, and then there's like whatever up. So that's all going to be replaced. So this is going to be a steel-sided structure exactly the way it is now. It's just going to be closer in theme. But one of the discussion points was moving the awning from the parking lot because there was confusion, and it's not just here. I was also hearing it from planning and others on council that putting that hard structure on the other side was going to be confusing as to parking, because remember, this is going to be a parking lot during, the week and non-event times. So the decision was, all right, well, what would it look like to move the awning and attach it to the building, knowing that it would create additional space in the building and shade and keeping the building cool and that sort of thing. And then also, too, the awning that's currently on the front is also jacked. I can't remember what it's a technical term, jacked is broken.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not in good shape. So, so we said, all right, let's just kind of make it so it all flows, and what does that look like? So this is what the last iteration came up with, which, we'll debate it in a second here. But the doors are all the same. Everything's the same. We did make the entrance door bigger on the front. They put windows, the 3 windows up on top, I believe, weren't there before, or maybe one was. We'll get to I think there's a before and after here in a second. And then the square windows. But you can see that now the front porch actually is covered too. So the nice thing about this is when the space is being activated and there's weather.
Oh, gosh, sorry.
No worries.
I got turned.
It's like church. The first thing the priest says is turn off your phones. And I didn't do that, so, right? So the idea here is now we're creating additional space for guests to be that are under cover of weather. The one thing that was pointed out by others is that we would love to have the Tivoli lights going across, and we'll still try and figure out a way to do that. But the nice thing here is we've taken the discussion about having the hard structure on the other side and cutting the parking lot and running utilities over there. We're not doing any of that anymore. It's just being attached to the building. So it's actually, in my opinion, and in the committee's opinion, this was a really good solution. I will say the first pass they had the roof pitched the other way. And Bob's like, oh, that's not going to work, guys. So we had to go back to the drawing board and fix that one up. But so now it's attached to the building, and I think this solution was a great one. So that was that. Let's keep going. Oh, it looks to be about the same. Oh, this is what it was before. Okay, so here, yeah, so here, so the top one was the first one that was pitched to council, and you guys have all seen a jillion times. And then this is the new and improved. So there's actually a brow over the window here on top. There's this structure here and that. So it's just, it just looks a lot better. And when we were going through it, it kind of made me feel like Eastern Market, where they've got the structures there, where they have like Flower Day and they back the trucks in. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, this is where the project's tracking at present. with respect to just, tweaking changes. And what gave rise to this, again, was we had to redo the siding, so what else is there that we should talk about? And this is how it came up. Fair assessment, Bob, Tony? Roger, I think that's pretty much how it laid out, wasn't it? Talking about the siding is what gave rise to this sort of change. And then I thought this was cool, and until the architect showed me, but now with the roof structure for the stage, it ties into the side roof. It just looks like it's all one thing, right? So it flows a lot better. At least that was my takeaway. We'll open it up to the board here in a second, but that was that thought process. But the rest of this is, none of this has changed. It's all still the same.
What about the cement around?
Oh, yeah. So, what did we have here? Oh, no, I've got this.
I think it's on the last slide, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right, we'll get there in a second. Yeah, no, Nancy's asking about this stuff here, and I'm going to get to that in just 2 seconds, so put a pin in it, as the kids say. We're almost there. So this is just sort of a close-up of the new awning side, which we've already seen. The other side, so if memory serves, we had 2 roll-up doors there before.
Yes.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention too on this, if you guys remember, I don't know if we talked about it last meeting, I think so. But when they did the demo, they found out that there was structural damage on this side, on this wall, and they're gonna have to reconstruct it all anyway. It wouldn't, it was just no bueno. So that was also what gave rise to this sort of tracking change. So with that, and this is a matter of debate. There's been some discussion that the windows aren't big enough, and we can certainly talk about that, bringing light into the space. But going from 2 doors to the 1 roll-up door was the change. And then the brick now is, it looks higher just because of the topography of the space. And you get to the other side, it's only like 3 feet off the ground. But as you come around towards the front of the building, it's, you can count the things, but it's, probably 6-7 feet off the ground, halfway up the door. But again, this siding is all steel, so it's exactly the same type as it is right now. It's not anything extraordinary. And then this stuff, brick, they call it CMU, which is not Central Michigan University. It's
Cast masonry unit.
Cast masonry unit. So it's a technical term.
Or concrete masonry unit.
Gotcha, concrete masonry, gotcha. And then this is the other side.
Oh, well, that was good.
Yeah, so it looks really good. The other change was on this wall. I think we had it brick before, or brick facing.
It was going to be, they were going to try and put the Main Street brick up on that. In addition to already setting it into the ground, we were going to try and do it there, and they were having challenges with it because the brick is so cumbersome.
Yeah, yeah, so what we talked about doing, there's a couple things. So this is poured, it's a poured concrete, and this is, the whole thing's poured concrete. So they're going to put
Brick ledge.
brick ledge, is that what it's
Brick
called?
ledge.
It's like, I can't think of the name of it, but it's basically a shelf for the bricks to sit on. So if we wanted to still use Main Street brick, we're going to put the shelf in there, and then we can do it whenever we want. But as we were talking about it, of course, our director's like, well, that'd be a great place for art. So I'm like, all right, so we kind of, all right, fine, we'll leave it as it is right now. We'll set it up for the brick if you guys decide that's what you want to do. But the budget that's going to be coming for us is going to be this exact deal, right? So, but it'll have the ledge in there, and you guys know we've got, I don't know, a few 100,000 of those bricks
Just a few.
over at the old wastewater treatment plant, so they would just be repurposed for that. I think that's it. Well, that
I
is
have a
it.
question.
Yes, sir.
At the loading dock there, do you have any access for higher and lower, right there?
Yeah.
I see it's
Dock height, yeah.
dock height now. Is there any kind of elevation or not elevation? In most of the docks that I work in, they have some kind of an elevation that fits to a higher.
Yeah, well, where the guy's standing is the floor inside the building. So the only options you have there is either a lift gate of some sort, a mechanical lift gate, or a ramp. So I can find out, now that's normal dock height for like a delivery truck, right?
Okay,
Which would
yeah.
normally be there. But you got this dude in his F-150 there, so it's going to be probably a 2-foot jump from the back of the bed of the truck up into the floor
the
there.
I think we were talking they use for semi-trucks a lot. You have like a metal thing that goes right on top.
Yeah,
I don't know if we'd have any.
I'm talking about lift or no lift.
It's a rendering.
That you just control with a switch on the side.
Yeah, so that's something that certainly can be added afterwards. That's not, it's actually standalone. I've seen those before. So point taken, note taken. Next time we talk to the guys, we'll make sure that it's set up for that. But that wasn't what we talked about. This is the first time that.
No, that's fine.
This is why we have these discussions, because you don't know what you don't know. But that's a valid point. I would think on balance, though, most of the people using that are going to be sort of the delivery van type.
Schlepping in, schlepping out.
Exactly, right. UPS guys, I mean, this is what they do all day long, so, yeah, so that's that. Yeah, Marilyn?
Yeah, I like the awning edition.
I'm sorry, Marilyn. we
I
can't-
like the
Yeah,
awning
I don't think your
edition.
speaker's on, or your microphone is it on? Oh, there you go. There you
Okay,
go. Yeah.
I like the awning edition. I
Good.
do like that, but I do have a question
Sure.
about, if you go back to
Oh, sorry.
where you showed the loading dock.
Gotcha. Hold on,
Next one.
come on.
There you
Well,
go.
the mouse is not
Yeah.
cooperating here.
I-
Whoa,
I'm sure
hey.
that,
Holy crap.
Who's driving?
I,
Just
mouse.
want to say.
Holy crap, there we go.
So
Sorry
you
about that, people.
mentioned the windows, so there must be a reason why they didn't put another one, the one on the corner? near the
you know
corner.
what? At this point, I don't think there's a reason not to or to do it other than cost. So I've talked to others, and this, and I personally think that, you can never have enough windows. So my sense would be to put them in. Now, when Bob and I and Christie were walking out of the page turn, I don't know if Roger, if you were part of that, or Tony.
I think
but
Nick was
Bob's
with
like,
us.
he pointed over to Mills and said, look at those windows over there. Why can't we duplicate that over here? The Mills has kind of like, is it like an arch type window or something like that?
Yeah, they do.
So there's some thought there. So we may, do something along those lines. I just don't know how expensive it's going to be. If it's if it's square in the front and round on the sides, that would probably look kind of goofy. So
It
you
would
want,
kind of look goofy. I'm not so worried about, I mean, it's not, and they're not trying to make the antique look or the vintage look like the Mills, so I mean, that's
Right,
a
we
whole
just want
nother
it to look like
look.
it's been
That's
there
the whole
for-
brick thing, but
Sure.
just to add another rectangular window seems it would kind of flesh that out. And,
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it would be more balanced.
yeah, for sure. And as a creative designer that you are, that's the eyes, like my wife would said the exact same thing. So,
Yeah, no,
so
it's
that's
looking good,
mental
though.
note made,
Yeah.
we'll probably expand those a little bit or make them bigger. I
Yeah.
just don't know if there's value in 2 roll-up doors there.
Maybe not.
So I would,
know.
For that amount of space,
Yeah,
you
no.
really don't need to roll.
I mean, the only way to do is just sort of open it all up, but we'll have the one, and then those windows, Bob, would those open up, or would they be fixed, do you think?
In my world, they would be fixed.
Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, that's like in
If you
my
need
office.
air, you would do the roll-up door.
Gotcha, okay, all right, well, yeah, so,
We got 4 on the other side, so
Yeah.
we got air moving.
yeah, for sure. So bigger windows is, we'll communicate that back with
Or
the
more,
architects.
or just more.
Or just more of them, correct, yeah.
Bigger, more, yeah. I love
Bigger, more,
light.
just lots, yeah, because the
Just-
natural light's nice, and.
Yeah,
and-
it is.
And then you
It
can
is
see the
nice.
the eyebrow up here, so I don't know, I just thought it was really cool
Yeah,
that what they
no,
did.
I do. I like it.
And then ironically, this is very similar to what's on the fire station in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the siding and everything, so it looks like the two were kind of built at the same time, that's what we want, right?
I like
So.
the connection they're making.
So yeah, it's great, but, this is stuff that we hadn't budgeted for originally, so I'm waiting to get those quotes back. So for our purposes this evening, I'm just gonna use a round number of 3 million total. We were like 275 or 28 before, so I'm just gonna use that for budgeting. We don't know what it's gonna be until we get the quotes back, but for goals and objectives purposes, we'll use that number. And that's just my suggestion, and then we'll go from there. So, all right, so with that, with these changes, so Nick was also in the page turn, and, and so was a seal, which was great. So we had all the decision makers and everybody there at the same time telling us what we could do and what we couldn't do. It was mostly what we couldn't do, which, they're the fun busters, and that's what they get paid for, so.
I have another question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Instead of having 2 roll-up doors, you don't need it. Why don't you just have an extended dock area and a bigger roll-up door so you could put 2 trucks back there or different sizes, et cetera? Therefore, you could have the lifting and not lifting on one side and the firm on the other area, but it would handle 2 vehicles going and backing up.
I think you might be overestimating the amount of deliveries we're getting.
Okay.
I honestly.
Yeah,
And we've got
okay.
4 garage doors on the other side that people literally can just pull right up
Yep.
and be right there. So I just don't know that
Yeah,
we need
because the ones on the
yeah.
other side are parking lot level, so I
Yeah.
would think that,
Oh, okay,
you know what I'm
that's fine.
saying?
That
So-
takes care of it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's important to note is that air conditioning is not in the budget on this one. And we talked about it, putting it in, not putting it in, and this is how it was explained to me from a seal and from the architect, is that In a public space, they have air handling requirements that require air changes, even though the doors are rolled up. I mean, it's going to sort of do it by itself, but whatever. So I have them budgeting that separate, but if you do the math, there's probably only going to be a handful of days that it would ever be needed. So, I mean, me being the bean counter, I'm like, all right, what's the payback period, right? So I'm not sure there is one, but we'll present that information to you guys as soon as we get it. It'll be sort of a, this is the base, and then here is this option, here's this option, here's this option, and then whatever you guys decide is what we'll do. We'll send it to council and move forward. So any questions design-wise, aside from the extra windows and all that stuff? Yeah, Don?
Go back to show the other side of the building where the 4 doors are.
Let's see, if this is a better one? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was just concerned about, as soon as you mentioned trucks on this side, trucks in the awning.
Oh, yeah, well, valid point.
Got to be enough height.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so you would think that a truck using dock height is going to use the other side, and that's going to be the one that would nail that. A pickup truck wouldn't, right, in theory, but also, too, they have to provide us with an insurance certificate, and, we'll step up the politeness and make sure we get reimbursed for anybody that hits our building, right, so.
Question, what height are those awnings?
You know what, I don't honestly know.
Basically, 9.5 is most box trucks will fit under that.
It's probably at least 10
There
foot.
might be CDL requirements too, like with regards to, I think you have to have multiple docking stations to be able to like have a semi come in, so.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a semi for anything we've ever done.
Right, that's where,
I mean, it would be
I mean,
great.
unless
to
someone-
have
I don't
that
wanna
problem,
limit
but
us,
yeah,
but-
unless
This is
someone
a
has
big
a lot of
operation, it's not that big, right?
Just in general, I don't think anything the DDA's done in 25 years has necessitated that.
Right, yes.
I like to
Yeah,
have
when we get Foglers to back up the corn truck and, yeah, exactly.
I got a question.
You have a barn
Yes, sir.
dance.
I missed a couple meetings.
Yeah, I know, you were in Florida golfing, we know.
No, but, are they talking heating that place with forced air or radiant heat?
I believe it's a radiant.
It's
Bob,
radiant, yeah, I think.
Bob, it's radiant heat, isn't it?
It was radiant heat,
Yeah.
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 They do not have an air handling system at this
I'm
point.
not getting my air conditioning, I don't know.
Yeah, the air handling, and once again, I'm an accountant, I didn't know anything about air handling, and it's like a thing. In public spaces with a lot of bodies, you have to have air changing every blah, blah, blah.
You don't think an air conditioning is a good idea for that building?
Well, I mean, you guys will decide if it's worth the money. So I'm just saying how many times we use it, and you say, all right. But the thing is that my big question is, if we don't do it now, how hard will it be to retro it if we decide we want it? And I would rather us get it done, get in the space, decide how much we need it, and if we're like, oh, dude, why didn't we do that? And if they're saying, oh, it's just gonna, the infrastructure's already there, you just gotta put the equipment in, then that's easy.
Because it's a miserable, because I have a building on South Street, it's a miserable feel
Yeah.
when it's hot out
But we've
there.
got the doors and the big-ass fans, Tony, so it's gonna get you.
They're
They're literally,
They got the
they're
big-ass
big-ass
fans
fans. They're
They're-
literally
they're
called
really
big-ass
big.
fans. They're
Okay.
giant
So there are
fans.
fans. There's.
Yeah, big, they're literally called big-ass fans, and they're
Okay.
giant,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, they're
Well, you get to
like
vote for the air.
helicopter blades. They're massive.
No, I've heard of the big.
It's either.
So that, and then also too, I asked to have the sonotubes like from Solaronics or whatever, the radiant heat, but in the ceiling there above the awning as well. So when we activate it in the winter, there's heat underneath that. Like, when you go out to wait for your car valet or whatever, that kind of thing. But it would be, warmth and blah, blah, blah. So design-wise, everybody fundamentally okay with it? And is any, aside from the extra windows, which you were not the only one that made that point. I was also one that did that, so.
I just wanted to touch on, whatever changes we make, we are going back to Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Because of this, so Nick is going to put on their March agenda to set the public hearing for the April meeting, so we'll be before Planning Commission in April.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let them know, my goal tonight was to get feedback from you guys as to any changes, the windows being one of them. If there was nothing else, then we're gonna roll with this design as sort of the last, best, and final, because they need to do drawings for planning, and we're running concurrently with that right now. So they're actually doing them based on this, but adding a couple windows I don't think will be a big deal, so. Good?
I'm good. Looks great.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Appreciate it. All right, so now this is going to have a giant caveat attached to it, but I got a schedule.
Okay.
So I asked Sean Rewald from Rewald, our construction manager, to kind of put down a calendar as to when things are going to happen. And as you can imagine, there's a million moving parts here. and any one of these things that gets put behind can have a potential cascading effect on others. But sort of based on his experience, the big stuff is going to be, we're going to be sending it out for bid, and let's see here, go back to 1 second here. So all of the design stuff is done, construction documents, permits, all that stuff, all the February stuff is done. Geotechnical is done.
In progress.
In progress, yeah, we're waiting for, DTE has been a pain in the keister, just FYI. And Nick is hopefully saving the day on that one. I had to.
Hopefully, he's in Marco Island right now.
No, I know, between him and Tony being in Florida, it's like, come on, you guys.
Yes.
Gotta congratulate Tony on his second grandchild.
you.
Yes. But going out for bid, getting all the stuff back by the end of March?
Nope, so bid documents are released to the bidders on April 1st.
Yep.
Coming back on the 14th, and then post-bid interviews the week after.
Yep.
And then we'll have it the last week of April to come to us.
Oh, okay, got it, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm off a line.
No, sorry,
So the
so
final
I meant
contract and
22.
budgeting and financing, all the stuff is done end of April, first week of May, that's the target. That part, I think, is absolutely doable, and that's no issue whatsoever. And then from there, we get crack-a-lackin'. The plan is to be in and out by the end of October, based on this. And again, a million things have to go right for this to happen, but to be in and out. Now, part of there's been multiple discussions surrounding speed and safety of the site and keeping it open for people to park during the week versus the trades being in there, all that stuff. So we're still trying to work all that out. It may come to pass that if the recommendation comes down just to shut it and get it done quick, since the farmer's market's already moving, again, this has not been fully decided yet, we're just kind of having these discussions right now, or keep part of the lot open during the week, and then just kind of reserve, because I'm worried about safety, number one, right? And then also, too, if we have to continually keep moving stuff around, and, one day you can park here, the next day you can't, and then you got to get cars towed, and it's goofy. So, Madam Mayor.
I got an idea. What if, the reason why everyone loves that lot is because it's free.
there's
So
that,
what
Yes.
if we bag one of the other lots if we shut down this lot? What if we bag another lot to give people some free parking?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be,
Cuts down the revenue for parking, though.
It does. It cuts down the parking, but safety is more important and wanting to make sure the construction goes well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a short period of time.
so that would be fantastic. So I will be the first one to say, heck yeah. But with that, so let me see if I can do it where I don't have to do that, or if we only have to do it for a short period of time, or maybe if I tie up, I'm not doing anything, I'm just talking about it, but if we tie up, let's say, 20 spots in there, that we bag 20 up top or something, kind of as an offset. But the other thing, too, is that, and I don't know, but the parking up top is not going to be used at all, because that's going to be like the main in and out, I think, for all the contractors. That's my feel, at least when I'm talking up top, I'm talking about the actual
structure.
building. No, the actual building parking.
Oh, that up top.
Yeah, so, sorry, let me close this up.
I'm going to ask a stupid question.
Yes,
Is
sir,
there
please.
is there
This
any,
parking lot up here.
idea for solar panels on the roof to create some kind of extra?
Oh, I mean, anything's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's up here, I worry about,
Solar panels, this is America.
you want oil derricks out there, right? Kidding.
Don't hit him too hard.
Right. But yeah, so this parking up here, so I just want everybody to be aware that we're cognizant of, the need for that parking and everybody loving it being free and it being there. But we also have to be able to get contractors in and out and keep it so, we can't legislate morality, but people are going to be sort of, goofing around, and I want to make sure that the place is as buttoned down and as safe as possible. So those discussions are continuing. As soon as we get sort of the best case scenario or the best feel from the construction manager and the contractor, because again, the contractor is going to be the one that's going to be on site doing this stuff, we'll report back and maybe be asking you for either that or an offset or some sort of hybrid, but we'll be leaning on our forensic counsel 100% for that guidance. Yes, sir.
Do we have any guidance or anything in writing that once this is approved by city council, if the cost of materials goes up, like, are we
Oh, the bid process? So it's
Yeah.
going to be, it's going to be a not to exceed on the bid. So
Okay,
that's not
that's-
going to be an issue for us.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
not gonna, so it.
Yeah, no.
Okay, got it, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the project's already been approved by council. The only thing that council would be really needed for is if there's material budget change, right? So we've budgeted, set aside money for X, which is going to be in our budget we present to council. When are we actually doing that?
That'll be in April. We are supposed to be prepping everything in March and then being before them in April. I believe it is, we are going there on the, I think the 14th or the 28th. I think it's the 14th.
Okay, all right, so
Okay.
sometime in April, we're going before council, and it's going to have our budget, which will have these numbers in it, plus everything else we're about to talk to in a few minutes on goals and objectives projects that we're working on. So when it goes out for bid, it's going to be, this is what the delivery is. The only options are going to be, like I said, if you want air conditioning, or if you want to use Main Street bricks on the side there, or do art, which we'll talk about. Stuff like that, but that's all going to be sort of add-ons, right? So it'll be the base, and then to the extent we want to do these extra things, and then for sure, that's going to have to go back to council. But we're already over, a couple, 200-300 grand, we had thought, just based on stuff.
Right,
and so forth.
my fear was, we're halfway into the construction project, and, oh man, we gotta go back to council because.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that it won't happen, but I'll be pissed if it is. So we're trying to do everything we possibly can to do that. If that happens, it's not going to be because of something we did.
Totally got it, I didn't know.
No, but I'm saying, but if we do a not to exceed and then they accept it, then that's their problem, not mine, right? Fair?
In theory, yes,
I know, agreed, I know.
yeah, so.
You want your farm, buddy?
Well, all we're gonna say is, so where else would the money come from?
Yeah, right, yeah,
You know, so I mean, we're all collectively taking this leap of faith as the bidding process goes out, right?
100%, I've dealt with 2 different municipalities where I've been in council or township trustee meetings, and it was like, hey, we had this budgeted, and now, the cost of X has gone up, and.
Oh. I mean, anything can happen. Nothing
Okay.
shocks me anymore. I'm 60 years old, and I've been in city government for, 15, 16, well, actually almost 20 years with DDA, so.
What?
Yeah, I was on council for 12. So nothing shocks me anymore.
Okay,
I mean, I would feel disappointed if something bad didn't come up to kind of try and poo-poo it, but we'll get around it. We are diligent, and we will do everything we possibly can to make sure that everything's buttoned down and nailed down. And if that happens, which, again, the likelihood is remote at best, but
Okay.
we'll make sure that we're good. Bob, do you have something?
No, I was just I thought what Eric was alluding to is possibly fallout from the whole, roller coaster of tariffs.
Oh.
We could
Well-
wind up dealing with some fallout from that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
One
want
way or another.
to specifically
We just gotta
say
deal
that,
with it when if and when it shows
Yeah,
up.
I
that's
mean,
all.
I don't think we're getting our 2x4s from China, so we should be good.
Might be Canadian lumber.
Might be Canadian.
Yeah.
Might be
Well, I
Canadian.
just say,
Yeah,
could happen.
They'll get that sorted,
Some US lumber.
right?
Yeah.
It's all right. We'll get the Amish to start milling some stuff up for us up in Mount Pleasant like they did for my barn.
Frank does use
Oh,
them.
yeah, they're great. Okay, so that is that, back to the schedule. So, sorry.
Ben, I did confirm, it's
You know where
April
I was going,
14th.
'cause-
April 14th will be before council with the
Gotcha,
budget.
okay, so, and are you good? You good? Okay, so,
100%.
all right, good. Yeah, and we'll do everything we possibly can do it, but, I don't know what I don't know, we don't know what we don't know, but we're going to try and know as much as we can. So the idea here, if everything works and everything happens, and again, there's a million things that could derail this, mostly related to approvals. I don't think the construction is going to take very long at all. It's going to be sort of process stuff, dealing with planning, dealing with getting permits. DTE, again, whatever, but they've not been great. So that kind of stuff that we just can't control, right? But as it stands now, the best guess is, end of October. So I would plan, as the old saying goes, everything takes 20% longer than you expect it to.
Year-end.
So it should be done sometime around Lanyap would be my guess. We should be totally done with it, just as sort of a cushion, but they're saying end of October, which is, fantastic, so.
I just have one.
I got one. Yes, ma'am.
That solar panels were brought up, was there any type of environmental
That's,
sustainability?
honestly, I hadn't thought of it. We can certainly have that discussion. It's not in the budget now. to the extent that it makes sense. You know, I would probably grab Chief Cieslik and find out how the fire station's doing and how that's worked out for them.
We have them on the DPW building too. I mean, you know, they could be a line item, a discussion item,
Yeah.
costed out. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, so
We should do the due diligence.
Yeah, for sure. I will say that I have 16 panels at my farm up north, and they do not produce any energy from November until May, just because of this. So it's fun times in Michigan, so. But that said, we'll for sure report back with that as well as an add-on. And again, that's the kind of thing that can literally be done at any time.
Yeah, just interested in.
Yeah.
that type of
No, that's
environmental
fine,
sustainable-
absolutely.
GSI was looked at it all.
Yep.
I don't know.
Another interesting thing, on the docks, if you just had a slide-out ramp,
Yeah,
that would solve a lot of problems.
gotcha.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Good?
Yep.
All right, so that's the calendar. That is the report on the design, the extra windows notwithstanding. Everybody's good on that, so we're gonna march forward. For budgeting purposes, I'm gonna use the $3 million number. Again, we're getting, that's all in, that's not included, that's before the grant, that's before everything else, just the total project. We were like 2.7 before, so just, again, for planning purposes, I almost hate to do it because now we're gonna bid it and they know how much we got, what the budget is. All the budgets are gonna come in at 29999.3,
Yep.
0.01.
And then there'll be change numbers.
Right, yeah, exactly. But that's sort of the way it rolls. So anyway, that's the update, long-winded on Graham. Any other questions with respect to the Graham project? Okay, seeing none, we shall march forward. Let's get through the dining platforms first, and then we'll go straight to Goldsmith.
Sure. So in your packet, I went ahead and I listed the businesses that are interested in participating in the program this year. Bus Barber, Brunch House, St. 1881, Side Dish, and the Spice and Tea Exchange share one, and Touraloo. So if this is something we are interested in continuing, we already have the dining decks, so the next step would be a motion to send it to council for their consideration, and if they are up for it, then we would move on from there.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Haig,
Second.
support by Bloomingdale. Discussion, anybody have any questions?
I just think it's great for the whole downtown business. And it gives a vibrancy to downtown, that we're full and we're this and we're that. And yes, it's extra, but I think it's well taken.
Agreed. I'm sorry. What condition are they in?
They're in pretty good shape, so I don't know if that Bob and Matt, if you guys repaired them this year, or if you're waiting till the spring.
Yeah, we'll get a little closer to it.
Yeah, and then they make any repairs. We did have, one had the ramp hit again. I don't know what it is about Touraloo's, but it's like a magnet. So it keeps getting hit, but.
That one high-vis orange or something?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but no, they're in pretty good shape, and we do have a few extras, so if there's any that need more repair than others, then we have spares.
Gotcha. Madam Mayor?
So this is a request not just for the locations for these, but also for a parking offset? What is the request?
So then I'll work with Anthony based on the board's decision tonight to, he goes through those parking spaces and provides an average of cost, and then that's what's going to go for council. So it'd be a two-prong approval. One, to let us do it,
Yep.
and then two would be for the financial side of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yep, so that'll come shorter. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Aye.
Aye?
Any opposed? Motion carries. As a quick aside, and I forgot to mention this, one of the other things we're looking at is sort of a potential add-on, and we'll talk about it, but is safety bollards for the structure for the farmer's market.
Yep, I
Yeah,
can pop
please.
onto that a little bit. So originally, when we've been setting up the market lot itself, and also the Graham for that matter, we had talked about right now, if you're familiar with the farmer's market, we just kind of roll in barricades and then we roll them back out. And we thought that we wanted something a little bit more formal for what would be happening there, but still something that would be movable because it's more than likely going to be the three ladies of us moving these things. However, with events happening in New Orleans and other places, we started looking at different types of bollards. that are designed for hostile vehicle incursions. I never thought I'd have to say those words here, but unfortunately, we'd rather be prepared and never have anything happen rather than have something happen and say, God, I wish we would have done that. So one of the things that we're working with Rewald on is sourcing out some bollards that are actually something that are attractive, but you're not getting a car through that thing. So working on that, we actually, when Main Street, they sent us on our road trip out to Texas, checking out the markets, there was something at the Pearl that we really liked, that they look like bollards, but they're almost on like a railroad track, so that there's a key that goes in, and then you could just pull them back, so when the market's open, it's off to the side, you wouldn't even notice it, but then when you pull it back, it's right there, and they are rated specifically for hostile vehicle incursions. So that'll be coming back. That would be an add-on to the project, but I think from a safety perspective, warranted.
What about the ones that come up and go down?
So there has been some discussion about that. The challenge with the ones that go up and down is because we have the winters that we have, and yeah.
And they're a fortune.
And also a fortune. That's why I mentioned the ones, they do have automatic ones, but the ones that we saw when we were in Texas were manual. So it's literally a lock and twist system, which.
So Christy and I were, after what happened in New Orleans and other places, Christy and I were kind of talking about it, and it just, I mean, I hate to even broach the subject, but we have to deal with it, right? So it's reality, and we just want to make sure we're doing everything we can. So that'll be also sort of an add. So just, when you see that, we'll make sure we call it out for you guys, but just FYI. I meant to mention it before, and I totally forgot, and then we started talking about parking, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot, so, okay. All right, so stay tuned, News at 11 on that one, no pun intended. Goals and objectives, all right, so we've gotten through that. Oh, I'm sorry, we voted, we're good, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Goals and objectives, so this would have been the work we would have done a week ago, but we're doing it tonight. So we've talked about the 500-pound gorilla in the room, so that'll be the lion's share of the budget, but we also do other stuff around here. So, so the idea now is to sort of talk about other projects that you guys want, and this is just going to be free form. This is typically not even a televised thing, but I thought it'd be cool just for people so they can see the sausage making part of making sausage, right? So how we decide on projects that we want to do, and if there's others that come up that you think about later, let us know. But the next, we're going to take all these ideas and kind of monetize them, if you will. And then I also need to probably put together a budget subcommittee at some point. So once we get these things going, we'll monetize them. So with respect to capital projects in the district, it's listed for me, but really it's for you guys. So.
Well, this is the one, what the city has projects.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So, I'm sorry, yeah. So I talked to Nick, we've got plenty of money set aside. He provided me the schedule, and according to him and Anthony, we're in good shape, don't worry about it. We'll just make sure that we give you guys a number, and as you guys know, we are 1,000,000% in on that, so whatever it takes, we'll do.
Nick just wanted me to mention, the asset committee for the city has not reviewed it yet. They're doing that. I think, Nancy, is it this?
It's going to be in March.
It's going to be in March. And then we'll get those
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, and the
projects
key
here.
thing is we need to do DDA projects this season because we're trying to get ahead of North Main, when North Main will be closed down.
yeah.
So
Indeed.
Valid point. Okay, well, anyway, Nick said that we were in good shape, Anthony said we were in good shape, we've got funds set aside. It's just the scheduling part of it. So once I get those numbers from them, they will be in the budget, and we're just going to get them from you guys, and they'll be there. So that is not going to be an issue whatsoever. Site development, Tony and Madam Director.
Do you want to go over what we have planned, and then we'll talk about, okay.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about the lights every year. Last year, we did 37 lights. This year, we're hoping to do 50 lights. And they keep on, like Chrissy said to me, they just keep on popping up.
I swear to you, I thought I had a good count, and the other day, I ended up cutting down Diversion and Mill, and I'm like, son of a gun. Right on the north side of the road, there they are. I found a random one that was at the end of First Street the other day. So they're just keep hiding from me.
Rabbits.
But yes, exactly. So we're holding off on Water Street right now until the granary project is done, because we didn't want to put fresh poles over there when they're going to be coming in and out of there. But what we did do is we did Old Town and water north of University, and then we finished off East Street, what was in our last round, and then we picked up that last pull down on First Street, and then we had 2 knockdowns, one by Knapp's and Firestone, and one that was just hit a tour bus, actually, backed into it. next to the meeting house. So both of those.
On those, we get the people that hit them to pay for it, right?
It comes back into the city, yes.
Okay.
It's around somewhere.
All right, so we'll make a mental note as we're doing
Yeah.
chargebacks.
Yes.
Don't forget about our polls. You guys get the money.
Yes, but I'll do another inventory after it warms up a little bit to see everything that we've got, but I think we're around 50, so it'll be up to the Budget Committee if they want to spread that over 2 years, or if they just want to bite the bullet. The other thing is that there are a few city poles as well around the pond, and so Nick was thinking about if we can get him a price of proposing that to City Council if they want to do those at the same time, since it would be within the same order, so.
Volume discount.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, then for the existing poles, a lot of them, if you guys noticed on the bottom from the salt and the moisture coming from the inside out, they're looking kind of rough. And we have 67 of those that have to be repainted, and it's $300 per light. So you're talking 20 grand, $20,100. And then we're gonna rehab the fence posts around all the plantings. And the guy who's gonna do it, in fact, I met him today, he came,
Isn't
and I
he
knew the
great?
guy, he's a great guy.
He's a good
But
guy.
and I've known him for a long time, but I said, are you the better painting guy? He says, yeah, that's me. But anyway, he's gonna take the fencing down, he's gonna prep them, paint them, the same color it is now, and he's gonna charge us $625 per fence going around. So that's not a bad deal. Electrical boxes need some love, he's gonna charge us $215 to paint those. And then we talked a little bit about the signage in town is looking kind of shabby, and we got a price to update the signage, paint the posts, and we're replacing 23 signs, we're redoing them, and cleaning 39, and that's for $33,744. And Chris, you want to do the red line, or you want me to do it in the alleys? We're
Yes.
pricing that out.
Yeah, so we're getting a price on that. You may recall that we started this many years ago, where in the alleys from Second to University, that they put down the white stripe designating loading zone versus travel lane, and then they put down that red, best way I can describe it is like tennis court paint that is there, and then it says, no, was it loading zone? I think it says loading zone there, so then people know that that side is pedestrian safety, this side is for driving. So DPW is getting us a price on that. As a side note, the city recently hired a new project manager, and so we may be employing some of their services with some of our projects now, so they'll help us bird dog projects and make sure that when we need pricing, we're getting the pricing, that when things need to go out for bid, they're helping us get that all together. So that'll be a great option for us.
And then another thing we talked to is Bart's looking to retire, and he is an asset to this area. So we're trying to put him with another guy where we can team this thing out. You know, with his, now, Bart is the one that does all the flowers around town, the trees, he does a
Lawn
great
cutting,
job. He
yeah,
does
everything.
a great job.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep him aboard with us, so keep your fingers crossed.
Join the firm?
Pardon me?
He can't leave. He's joined the firm.
I tried that. Yeah, no, Bart's been with us for over 20 years, but he is just getting to the point that he doesn't want to do all, he enjoys part of the work, but then he still doesn't enjoy like the having to manage people and having to do all the billings and all of those kinds of things. So we chatted with him a little bit that he is ready to retire from some things, but maybe there's a way that we can, in a transition way, find someone with him to partner with, so we can get us down the road, so then we would then eventually transition to this new person. So to be continued, but we've been working on it. Nick and I have been talking to Bart since before the holidays, and we just met with Site Development Committee, met with them a couple weeks ago. So we'll get back to you about that one.
Okay, and then the walkway on the south side of the park, is that one by the donor wall we were talking about?
North side. But the walkway on the south side is on the other side of the parking thing, but we were
Yes.
talking about the donor park.
And so are we planning on doing the lights by, on the south side?
So that was part of the bigger discussion coming up about the donor wall. We were
Want to wait on that then?
No,
is all
no, it's coming
freestyle.
next.
Go ahead, go for
It's
it.
coming next.
Okay.
Right here, rehab of, we did the Main Street fencing, donor wall and parking. So, as you may recall, we were talking about at one of our meetings with the donor wall that it hasn't gone as we had hoped. And we wanted to create an opportunity at the Graham, so instead of having two things, that why don't we then take the donor wall and reimagine that whole area, offer those donors the opportunity to be in, I see Nancy. Nancy's very excited about it, us too. Contacting all the people that did donate, see if they would want to have their donation then moved over for the recognition to be inside the building at the Graham. If not, then we'll work that out. But the idea was to just reimagine that whole space. So what site development been talking about a couple weeks ago, and anybody else feel free to jump in, is we're talking about new ideas for that area because it is kind of a blank slate. I think when we put it in, it was more to focus it around the donor wall rather than creating a place. Whereas we think there's opportunity to create place. And so when we were talking about it, site development, and then it came up again at executive committee, like, why don't we ask people what they'd like to see there? And I love that idea. I think we just have to put a few guardrails because somebody could be like, I want X, and it absolutely will not fit there. So we need to kind of have a little bit of an interesting thing. I don't want to put Taylor on the spot, but she kind of had an idea from a community input way, if we would be able to come up with something, how she thinks we could then get it out to people to kind of get some input. So Taylor, I don't know if you have to come to I'm so sorry, you have to come to the microphone for this. I warned her. I didn't spring at her.
Again, this is freestyle, this is not a formal thing, we're just having a discussion, so.
I put on my social media hat, and as a young person myself, I often do a lot of surveys via social media, so I said to Christy, it could be kind of a clever way to put it out to our community on our pages of more of an A-B option. So maybe it's something internally that we're coming up with, either like theming or colors, or, just whatever the specifications are that we would decide that we could more make them this or that, and kind of go down the list to get to a feel of what the community would want as a whole. So rather than just putting it out as a open-ended question, as Christy was saying. So yeah. Nothing too crazy, but just more freeform, as you were saying.
Yeah. So we're trying to get some input in that area, what we want to have done over there. It's inactive, it's donor, not donors, right? So,
Yeah. And I think, I'm sorry, but going back to Tony, what you were asking, this goes back to, we had budgeted money to go ahead and put lights over on the other side. So we're thinking it could be something that what we do there then goes down the walkway that way and then bends around the other side. So it's cohesive and makes sense rather than just putting up the lights. Let's see if there's something that connects. And if not, we can go back to just having the lights and the tables over there, or there might be some way to connect everything.
got it. Have you guys thought of any budget stuff, or is it all going to be dependent on what the design is?
Well, that's why we're having a budget
Well,
meeting.
I know, but I'm trying to put some numbers in there, or
Sure.
at least get some.
We did not talk about numbers. We did not.
Okay.
No.
So from I'm sorry, I'm like taking over here, and I like.
Anybody have any ideas what
I
you'd like
do.
to see in there?
What about, I don't know how much traffic we want in that area, but what about like a photo op area for people to take a picture with their dog in town? I could see that attracting. I don't know if that would attract too many people or would clog that area up, but I could see a lot of people, especially from a social media aspect, using it as a destination to come
Little dog butterfly
pose
wings.
little, like, I don't know, a little step and repeat with your dog. Just an idea.
Could they do the Amon Ross St. Brown cake?
Yeah,
like,
that'd be
for
cool. Well, yeah, look how many
For
people
my
that brought.
2 cents, I love the idea. I just want to make sure we're super sensitive to all the people who have their names on that donor wall.
100%.
And we have 100% buy-in before anything changes. I'm very sensitive to naming rights and changing things, because it just, inevitably someone gets annoyed. So-
Absolutely, and I will tell you that the majority of the people that have their name on that wall are sitting in this room. John Modetz, I've already talked to him, he didn't actually pay for that plaque, we gave it as a part of his sponsorship of the other park. So he said he does not care and actually wants to give us more money for something, God bless him. So he's good. So there really is only, there are 2 people on that wall that we would have to contact, the Sheltons.
Yep.
And there is a former,
Brooks Patterson,
the Brooks Patterson one was sponsored by Ann Peterson.
yes.
So we can talk to Ann, so we know that one. No, there's a former, she was the prom queen at Rochester High School in 19-something, and she bought a plaque for the wall. So there's only a couple people we'd have to contact. So, yeah, but we, and
got it.
the idea was that if they would say, no, I don't prefer that, then we could refund them the money that they donated, so.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I love the idea of getting input from people. It just creates community, creates the buy-in, and honestly, even just asking people creates that, even if we don't end up using their input. It builds the community. It's great.
Make sure you give the size of that space, because, you know, Nick and bocce balls and this and that, so.
Yeah, I
I
was
want
a
a
big.
roller coaster.
I
I want a roller coaster.
idea.
Yeah, no, me and Tony, I'm like, that's what we were talking about. I'm like, can I smoke cigars there, wear white jackets, and play
Drink
bocce,
wine.
and drink wine?
Because in Florida, that is the biggest thing. I mean, more than golf. I mean, there's.
Pickleball.
Yeah, I mean, it is, yeah, I think it's bigger than pickleball. At night, they have these bocce ball tournaments. There's hundreds of people there watching it. It is great.
It's our countrymen, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's right.
How many arguments break out? Because that's,
Well,
I
it
mean,
depends on how much wine's being consumed.
right, like, that's,
There's a linear relationship between.
On social media, all we need to find out is what color should the bocce court be?
All right, so
yeah,
from a,
no, really, that would,
so from a direction standpoint from the board, would it be fair to say, give us, in terms of timing, how much time you think you would need to put something together and then get it out there and get it back? Because I want to try and put a placeholder into the budget for it.
Sure. So we could probably start putting some stuff together the next, week or two and get it out there. So in theory, we could have input and back to us in the March meeting?
That's be fantastic.
Is that feasible, Tay? As I'm saying this, I'm looking over this way.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you, of all the issues that we have, and there's not a lot of them, the item that comes up the most to me that people in the neighborhood talk about
Yeah.
is that corner.
Yeah.
And people definitely understand the whole donor thing.
Sure, sure.
But they feel that there could be a lot different. So I think you'll get a lot of input.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we don't disagree.
Yeah, no, we don't disagree at all. It's been sort of a hot potato, to be honest with you, but I think we're at the point now where I think everybody's, like, to your point, is largely on board. And the other thing I've learned in my years of public service is you can never make everybody happy, but you try and make as most people happy as you can, and then go from there. Or you end up with the Pontiac Aztec. That was the other thing that we.
Yes. Yes.
Or a Cybertruck?
Or a Cybertruck. That's the dumpster on wheels, right? Okay, so you guys will take care of that. Next meeting, we'll have some ideas, some feedback from social, and then if you could kind of get a feel for some numbers, what that would look like. So like the lights and all that, we've talked about before, so we should have a pretty good feel on that one, but in terms of just sort of what the theme and the vibe is, and then.
Yep, we'll get
And we
to
should
it.
look at, like, if we end up putting something like a bocce court, we should look at, like, string lights or something.
Yeah, that's for
That's
sure.
what
We
he-
did talk
yeah.
about that. That's actually already in there. So Nick said this is not big enough for bocce, which I
He
was.
did, yeah, he did a few measurements.
That
He
was,
said
I
it's
was
big enough
not,
for
I was
bocce.
not happy to hear that, but.
Oh,
I don't believe that.
So it's just
I don't
botch.
believe
It's
it.
not bocce, it'll just be botch. We got like a
can we
three-quarter
push
court.
the parking
Yeah,
deck down a little?
Three-quarter court. Maybe we'll do a one-hole
Not two
putting green or
cornholes.
something. I have no idea. Okay, so we look forward to that. That's going to be fantastic. I'm actually very excited. And then, Don, to your point, people just kind of want us to do something there. So we got it. We're on it.
Yes.
All right, lights we got, fencing we got, donor wall and park walkways we just talked about. All right, this one I've been looking forward to having the discussion on. Love Local Art Program. So I know that's why you guys are here tonight as well. EA, no? Or are you just here to hang out?
We talked today, so I'll be the spokesperson.
Gotcha. Okay,
For the moment, but they're here to support. So just kind of backtracking, about a year ago, we established a Love Local Art Committee because we knew that we wanted to spend a little bit more time on art, and by having a dedicated line item that allows us to go out looking for grants. So since that, with our current programming, we have an art project basically every quarter that's inviting the public to contribute art, starting with deck art, then it goes to our no filter camera event, then the magical mural tour, and then the snowman stroll. So we've got that covered. But now we're talking about what's the next level of that. We did have the crosswalk project that was unsuccessful, unfortunately. We would possibly like to revisit that as a part of the Marketing Graham project at the intersection where Fourth and Third, where Water and Third intersect, because it is a scary crossing over there. But to be continued on that. But as Ben already alluded to, there is a great opportunity at that walkway leading up to the stage that will be at the Graham. There is the back of the Huntington Bank building, which we have gotten permission from Brett Mitzelfeld. Mitzelfelds are still the owner of that building, to go ahead and put a mural up there. But we need to come up with a design and then submit it to Huntington Bank. I think they just want to make sure we're not doing something crazy back there. Fair. totally fine. So those are two projects that we want to start working on, coming up with concepts and what that looks like. We wanted to talk to the board. Is that something we want to put out to the community and see, ask, just for general, put out the specs like we do with everything else and ask people to donate or to contribute designs? Do we want to give parameters for that? Like with snowmen, we say Christmas theming is fine, but doesn't have to be. Or when we do things with deck art, it's anything goes except for, no logos, no advertising, that kind of stuff. Do we want to put together something like that? Do we have an idea already of what we want? And then we want to put out a call for people, giving them, we're looking for a fruit theme, we're looking for a history theme, whatever that is, things like that. I think what we're thinking is when we start, that is the jumping off point for art, because those are the two big canvases that we're literally going to have in front of us this year. Then we can start saying, okay, from that, where does that go? We've got the utility boxes downtown that Tony had mentioned. There's some on Main Street that are yay, but there are big ones all over town, not just downtown, but they're also in the city. There's some cool projects that we've been tracking that Orlando does. Taylor, John, where were we? Boston, that had the big utility box program? They have
Milwaukee Black Cat Alley is very cool.
Yes, they have some really cool things down there. The other thing that Jen had brought back from St. Pete's Pier a couple weeks ago is they actually have kiosks that they built, that they're 10-foot by 10-foot wood that open like an L, and they have those at their market, but the back of it when they're closed is a piece of art. So I just feel like we already have two canvases dedicated to us that we can do art on, but that will then, I think, be our entrance into really getting this so that every year we're adding art to town. So I think this is a big year for us. So where I want to go with this is that obviously if we want to do something, the Huntington Bank building is the first swipe because it's there, it's available, and we can be working on that and not be in the way of any of the construction. So I think that's where we'd like to start first. So I was hoping I might give a little bit of input or direction of what people are thinking of what process they'd like to go for, because again, also, we do have opportunities to possibly pursue a little grant here or there.
Sure. So I'm going to just open it up. As far as art goes in general, my general rolling philosophy is go big or go home, right? So I'd like to but with that, knowing what we've got in front of us and kind of thinking sort of bigger picture, just what is everybody's thoughts with respect to art? Because we're sort of, we've been entrusted, or we're the ones that are always kind of pitching this. There's not really anybody else within the city that's doing this, to my knowledge.
Well, City Beautiful does
Well,
as
City
well.
Beautiful, right. So would this be a coordination with Beautiful? I don't know. The only thing I know that doesn't work is when there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, that doesn't work. And art is always in the eyes of the, of the beholder, right? So I'm trying to be mindful of that. So I think everybody to a person agrees that we really want to do everything cool that we can to, make the community beautiful, but we also want to make it so it's not a trip to the dentist every time we try and get a project done. So anyway, any thoughts with respect to that, Bob?
Well, I know when we talked about the crosswalks before, I looked at it and they have the crosswalks for the alley from, 2nd to 3rd and, 3rd to 4th, both east and west. So that would be 4 crosswalks that don't have stop signs and probably don't get recognized really well as it is. So it would kind of draw attention to the fact that that is a crosswalk and, to keep an eye out for people. And it would be kind of a cool art project at the same time. So that's a place to consider.
Yep. Like it.
Yep, making notes.
Anybody other thoughts? Madam Mayor?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm very passionate about art in our city. And I'm remembering, Christy, back when we did a strategic session, you had us do our maps and we put all the places where we wanted to put activation, and art is a way to activate. So I keep thinking back to that and thinking, like, have we taken that to a level of like an art master plan? Where as a process, we could get that bought into by both this board and the city council board. So that would kind of define our process so that then the creative people have their blocks to fill in, or their canvases, as you like to say, and we have a process. So we're not caught like we did before with the grant for the crosswalks, and then we missed it, right? I don't want to see that happen again.
So You're speaking my language. So we did check into art master plans because Farmington actually did one a couple years ago. And so they were kind enough to send it over to us, and it looks like something that would be, we could hire somebody, but they gave us the process. I think it's something that we could really put together, obviously hosting things, getting input, things like that. But I think it's something that we could definitely put together, unless we would like to spend money and hire somebody, and I'm happy to do that
No,
too.
we don't need to hire anybody, but we do also need to take into account our partners, like Paint Creek Center for the Arts.
Yep.
And City Beautiful, because they have successfully raised funds, they've gotten some art out there, and it certainly has to be coordinated.
Yeah, and I would say honestly, if you look at Deck Art, if you look at No Filter, if you look at Snowmen, and you look at Magical Mural Tour,
Right.
if you're looking at anybody that's doing all the art in town, it's kind of us.
It is.
So I think it would be bringing them on as partners, but I think we've already been driving the bus. We just got to throw some more paint on the bus and get everybody in.
Right. And
Yeah.
it is a competitive advantage for our downtown, because we all know our surrounding community is so jealous
Yeah.
that we can have murals and they can't.
Yeah.
They
And
even
I,
use it on their marketing material.
It's
yeah.
on their website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think one thing that I would mention, and we talk about this internally a lot, is that art, we've been successful with certain things, but there's more art than just painting things.
Yes.
There's a lot of other things that are interpreted as art, and art isn't always necessarily a piece of art you look at. Art can be interpreted through events, through, like you were saying, it's in the eye of the beholder. There's a lot of different things that you can do to incorporate art without putting, hey, here's a mural on a building. There's a lot more creativity that we can do there. But I have those maps that we did at the last visioning session, and those were very exciting. People were really excited. They pretty much wanted to stick art on everything.
Yes.
But I love the idea, again, this goes back to exactly what I was saying at the outset, is that obviously, the mural is happening at the market, that's the thing. That is literally happening, so we gotta figure that thing out. But concurrently, working on this art master plan, then that's gonna inform as we go through budgets, so that we can get the bean counters happy, that, okay, so then next year, we know for 2026, we're tackling X, and in '27, this, and that also gives us more runway for grant seeking those kinds of things, because those are, can come up at the craziest times and know what we might be looking for. And then with the Graham as well, I think that there's some opportunities that we might be able to tie in events with art and then kind of have a hybrid situation happening.
Marilyn?
Yeah, I mean, with the master plan, the art master plan that you're speaking of with Farmington Hills, was there a beyond, let's put art here, let's put art there? Was there any topic theme,
So, yep.
consistency, or connectivity that when people go to one project, they're like, oh, look, they've got a connection here
Yep.
to.
So downtown Farmington's very specifically did, it was murals. They do have a couple actual physical pieces of sculpture that they actually were on like a rent to buy kind of thing. So what their master plan did a couple things. It identified areas, which, like Nancy was saying, so it identified areas that were prime for that, because of course, there's a lot of areas that are privately owned that we might get access to if there's enough interest, and we do, because we have only so many things that we own. But in addition to that, then it set forth some goals of what, for the art in the community, that there were certain, I don't want to call them themes, that seems trite, but they had certain keystones, that these were the things that they were looking for, that they would then be putting out and asking people to submit ideas, so that it does, as you walk around, it does have, things don't look the same, but there's a consistent thread. I guess thread might be the word.
You don't
Yes.
stifle creativity, but on the end,
Yes.
you just don't want a clown
Yeah.
show, some sort of hodgepodge.
Correct.
I think this is art. And,
That's exactly right. So I think it's a thread, I guess, is the best way that I would put it, so that as you look at it, you'd be like, oh, this is, okay, I get it. And then you may have a light bulb moment of, oh, I get what they were just doing there, or not. You just like that, and it's cool, and that's fine. But I just feel like art, it transcends age. I think that getting people excited about art, whether you're this tall or this tall, I think it makes a difference. And then, again, it goes back to when you're talking about photo spots downtown. They naturally create these photo spots that people want to come and get their photo and look, and then they're tagging us, and then we're getting back to our social media thing. I'm looking at tagging. So it keeps coming full circle. I just feel like we've been dancing around art, but now that we're literally slapping a mural for sure on the back of Huntington Bank, whatever that might look like, let's use it as a runway. Let's get going.
Yeah. Agreed.
I know Cincinnati has like a mural map,
Yes.
Yep.
They've got, I think, over 100 murals. So, I mean, if we get to a point, I mean, that's something we could create and put on the website too, just to encourage people to come and start checking them all out. finding
Absolutely.
them.
I mean, one of the things, Taylor was brainstorming things for the magazine today, and we were talking about, with the tourism committee, which is farther in my report later, I'm on the Oakland County Tourism Study Committee, and one of the things that they were talking about is each of the communities having day trips, putting together a day trip idea, and so we were talking about in the magazine, actually adding something like that and having and we were talking about all different themes that could go along with that, and one of those could absolutely be art. We just need a little more.
Well,
Because right now, it's like, go over there and go there, and,
Yeah, no,
okay, great, hope you enjoyed it.
Any other,
And go to the park.
any other thoughts? So from my perspective, more, not less, coordinated, not uncoordinated, everybody on the same page, and not in a situation where people are feeling like their toes are getting stepped on. So, because we've got competing interests in terms of different people within the community that are responsible for delivering that in a certain area. So, and mostly for me is having 100% buy-in or near 100% buy-in as much as possible from the electeds, right? So making sure that we've got direction, and then we're not being put in a position that, every time something wants to get done, we have to go and there's a 4-hour debate over pink or fuchsia, just sort of goofy stuff like that, right? So as long as it fits in the criteria and it meets the criteria that everybody agreed to, and it's not, whatever, that we don't, it's kind of like our sign ordinance, right? So people don't have to go through planning or get approval if it meets the criteria. So it would be something like that. So I guess I would look for direction from you guys as to how you want us to pitch it. Who do you think should be involved? I don't want to have it where we've got 8,000 people that are in charge of stuff. I don't want another Pontiac.
A lot of people. I think we can do less than 8,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Well, it's 7,812.
Okay.
No, right. But you know what I'm saying, right? The more people you have in it, it just complicates the
Sure,
issue.
I mean, you're talking about a creative art direction brief. Don't tie them in so close, but give them direction.
Yeah, for sure. Give them loose parameters to
So you can
follow.
say, did this meet this criteria? And
So how,
you have a guide map.
so from a mural standpoint, we're going to have that in the budget this year, and we'll identify areas in the district. But thinking bigger, like we always do, how would you like us to sort of approach council?
That's why I go back to an art master plan.
Okay.
So council is a policy and strategic board.
Yep.
We are not a
Correct.
run the city board. So we need to review the policy and strategy and
Yep.
say, this is the art direction that we want for our community. And we know key stakeholders are City Beautiful, and they are the DDA, but the DDA can present it as this is the plan. Let us go, yes, that plan looks good, just like we do for the Parks Master Plan or the City Master Plan, and then implement it.
And if I could, we did establish a Love Local Art Committee that's been working with us on things. It includes Sean from Pink Creek. It includes Shelley from Paint a Miracle.
Good.
And then we have a couple local artists on it as well. And then Taylor and I sit on, Jen, are you on that too? And Jen's on it too. But that could maybe be the base committee to start, I can take this input back to them and say, here's where we're going.
Yeah.
And get some thoughts, because I think that both Shelley and Sean would have some
All right, we
good
need an
thoughts.
owner, and that's you.
Hi.
Yeah.
So let's put together something. Now, I want to make sure that we reach out to City Beautiful. I don't want anybody's nose to get out of joint on this. I want to make sure we're all rolling, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing, right? So I just want to make sure that we're efficient and respectful of everybody's time and opinion, but again, don't want to create a giant committee. We want to kind of keep it simple. But I want us to go before council, hey, look, we're thinking about an art master plan. We're using Farmington Hills or whoever else as a base. This is what other communities have done.
And don't hold up the mural for the back of the.
Oh, no, we wouldn't do that.
That's separate. Yeah.
I'm talking, we're doing that no matter what.
Yeah.
And we'll also, I think, put budget in there for the wall.
The wall.
Yeah. So, hold on one second. And then we'll come before you guys and just make it as a regular agenda. We'll do it like after budget, right?
Yep.
So this is a bigger deal, right? And have input, but get to a point where we agree, where you guys kind of give us direction. All right, this is the guardrails we want you to be around, and other than that, go have fun and make art happen, right? So at least that's my thought. Marilyn, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to request to see the Farmington.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can find it.
Art
Yeah.
master plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. just-
Yeah,
haven't seen it either,
yeah,
so
I'll find it from Kate.
And
Yeah.
so you're saying to have City Beautiful, the Love Local, or Love Art Group?
Love Local Art Committee is what we were calling it, yeah.
Okay, And that would be creating the master plan based on farm.
No, what I was saying is that I would take it back to the Love Local Art Committee and tell them what we're thinking, and then they'll help us get a direction so that we can be like, okay, this is how we want to go out the art master plan and start inviting people in. So that's just going to be sort of our brainstorming group of, hey, we have direction to create a master plan. What do we do?
Yeah, and we want to make sure we're collaborating with City Beautiful. so
Absolutely. I'm just
everybody-
saying, we're going to start there and then go, who's chairing City Beautiful these days?
Janine Krupp?
Janine Krupp.
So we'll be mindful of all stakeholders, but also too, I think this will be great. So we're not having a situation where, we're choosing different, they get 15 people choosing different hues of pink. Yes, sir.
Oh, there's cookies back there if anybody
Oh,
wants
no,
some.
that's what,
Good, too.
yeah, Paul was getting after it back there. I was like, all right.
Would the master plan include the whole city, or?
Yes, yeah. So I think, at least for me, and again, I'm an accountant, I'm not, the art, whatever side of the brain the art is not my brain. But it would be areas that are identified by folks as needing some love or potentially being activated, and what those options are, that kind of thing. It's just like any other master plan, and then you would review it every year or 2 or 5 or whatever the thing is. But that way it would provide us, and frankly, council, for areas that are not in the DDA district, to budget monies for activation in certain
Exactly.
areas. So
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. So thank you for that, and we will come back to you guys, and Christie will take point.
I got it. Yeah, but mural will be separate.
Voluntold, I
Yeah.
think, as Mark used to say, right?
Absolutely, yeah, but the farmer's market mural, that'll be separate.
Yeah,
Because we
100%,
gotta
yeah.
get
So the stuff that we're doing in the district
clicking.
now, we're going to continue that. Nothing's
Yeah.
changing. We'll continue to budget for that. And then the signs and all that other stuff that we've got, but this is bigger, thinking bigger.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, fantastic. Anything else on, and any other words of wisdom on items that you would like to see the DDA tackle as capital projects in the coming year that we haven't talked about yet?
We're doing those planners, aren't we, the new planners, Christie?
Yeah, so you may recall that we tested out those planters. There's one behind our building. So the idea is, those giant concrete planters that we put in during Main Street Makeover. They are starting to degrade a little bit. They don't look as cute as they used to. They've kind of been hit and stained and whatever, and they're a bit cumbersome. And so we found there is one that we've been experimenting with that actually is a self-watering planter, because that's our other problem with those planters. They have to be hand-watered, which is a lot of labor, especially with the hot summers that we've been having. So we found one that you literally have to, it has like a little spigot at the top, and you just put water in it. It holds water for about 2 weeks, and then it just flows up, and it's saving a lot of labor. So they planted a sample one behind our building last year, and it looked great. I mean, it really did well. And when it has, you have to, when you order the planter, it comes with a certain kind of planting material that apparently can absorb the water
gotcha.
in this way. So you get, basically tell you get the dirt for free, but they're not kidding. You need this dirt to put in them. But the cost, I'll pull it out for the budget committee. I think to get enough to replace the planters that we have, I think it was something like $3,600, and it's not a ton, but I think the labor savings is going to be better. They're a little bit, they're the same height, but they're a little bit more narrow, but just not a lot, but I think they'll take up a little less room on the sidewalk, which is nice.
That's great.
And they're sort of a stone color, like a dark, like a slate color.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but next time you're at our office, it's in the alley. It's right behind us. So, but it's nice. And with the dirt and the water in it, they're not tippy, but when you first get it, they're very lightweight. So when I got them, I'm like, oh, I don't think this is going to work. But once everything's in it, they don't move.
Gotcha. All right, so that would be another, so if anything else comes up that you guys think of, just shoot me an email or shoot Christie an email, and we'll get it in the queue. The next meeting that we have, our normal regular scheduled meeting in March, we will be talking budget stuff. So to that end, as the resident bean counter, I always seem to be drafted into this as the budget subcommittee, but I need some helpers. So is there any couple people that would like to serve on the budget subcommittee to kind of go through stuff? It's like everybody stand by.
I'm a numbers girl,
I see
so I'm always
Bob
happy to talk
volunteering down there.
numbers,
Yeah, no.
but.
Yeah, Bob's volunteering over there.
Bob, all right, so Bob and Nancy, you guys, good?
Sure.
All right,
Perfect.
all right, that's perfect. A nice group of 3. So we'll be putting together the budget for you guys. And then, so at our March meeting would be sort of the first cut
Can't
at,
mind my hands.
Gotcha.
the budget for the year. So it'll include all the CapEx that we've talked about.
And then Anthony and Nick will join us as well.
For sure, yep. Those guys are super supportive. We generally meet here upstairs once or twice. I mean, it's not like
Yep.
it's a total trip to the dentist, but it's like a teeth cleaning. So.
Maybe with x-rays.
Nancy, I mean, I don't know how much stuff, the mayor's job is just unbelievable, and I'm thankful
Sure.
for spending some time with us, because I know you've got 50 pounds
They're
of dirt.
numbers. I just want to talk numbers.
50 pounds of dirt in a 5-pound bag, so I get it. All right, with that, so that was my miscellaneous, and I'm glad we got that. Executive Director update, Madam Director.
It was a long one this month, so I apologize, but we've got a lot going on. But the two things that I wanted to touch on is the Oakland County Summit. The information is in your packet. This is the fourth one that they've done. This is where they hear from us what things we're looking for. A lot of county commissioners attend. This is where we started pitching the placemaking grants, which is where we got the $900,000 for the Graham. So the more voices there to express things that we're looking for, things that we need, the right people are in the room to hear it. And the county's budget starts in October, so that's what they're working on right now, is starting to plan those things. So if anybody's available, they feed us, and it's a couple hours and it's well spent. I'll definitely be there, but if anybody else wants to join, feel free. It's free to sign up. They just ask people to pre-register because they're providing food. So that's a good one. Let's see. And then Michigan Downtown Association, I am speaking at their conference next month, but we have also been selected as the annual conference site for the Michigan Downtown Association this year. So they're going to be at the Royal Park for their room nights, and I think that they're worked out a deal with the Roxy for their breakout sessions for all of that. So that's November 6th and 7th, so more to come on that, but there'll be people from all over the state, from different downtowners coming here to spend a couple days. So we're excited about that. So that's all good stuff. And then Community Outlook Breakfast, we have one seat left at our table. So if anybody wants it that hasn't already let me know that you're coming, let me know. We have one seat. So, Paul, you already let me know. You're in.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I have.
All right, fantastic. Events and marketing,
Ladies. Figured since they're here.
right?
Hello again. So our spring marketing kits just went out to all of the businesses, and were due this week, so that included opportunities for advertising in our Summer in Town magazine, sign up for Deck Art, which is in the month of May 15th and 16th, and opportunities at the farmer's market, whether that's promotional material for opening day tote bags, or appearances at the farmer's market. So collecting all of those interests right now. As Christy mentioned a little earlier, we are hoping to relocate the farmer's market for this season. So right now, just working on renewing vendor contracts and working through the additional logistics that it might take to move our infrastructure over there. So yeah, that's what we have going on. And Jen.
And it's February, so that means Foodie February. We only have like a full week or two left. So if you've dined in or done takeout at any of the restaurants, bakeries, or bars, make sure to text your receipt in for a chance to win a dining package of $500, $250, or $100. We have a little over 100 receipts turned in, so hopefully this announcement, more people will turn in.
Wow, I could have got 100.
No purchase necessary, unless you're working for the city or on council.
I know.
Each Friday,
don't
we
count.
do a Foodie Friday, and we give away a $25 downtown Rochester gift card too. So that doesn't exclude you from the grand prize if you're a winner. All the numbers and receipts are still in for the grand prize, and that will be in March 3rd. And then Taylor had mentioned Deck Art. Registration's open now through April 11th at South Street Skate Shop. I think we have well over 100 registrations so far. So it's been going fast. There's 400 decks available, so while supplies last. We have our businesses that have signed up for Deck Art, so it should be a good event on, yes.
So regarding Deck Art, so I understand it's the 15th annual.
Yes.
And, we should be breaking ground on our skate park this year. So I've been asking Councilmember Jones, are we making any connections between this? We're going to have a skate park and we do Deck Art. Should we talk about a theme, or should we reuse some of those decks somewhere around the skate park? So I'm not the creative one. I'm just going to throw that out there and see what you guys do with that.
Yeah, there's ways that we can definitely connect the two.
I mean, I know it's not, the skate park will not be in the DDA, but, how can we
Still part
work
of our
on this?
city,
We
yeah.
are,
Yeah.
we are one.
We'll think about some ideas to connect it. If there's any flyers or, grand opening we'll definitely put them at our office, because we have like a little reception for deck art, for the artists to come in and have snacks and beverage. Paint Creek Center for the Arts they're also taking on like 30 decks this year for an exhibition. So
Oh,
that will be
cool.
another nice, art connection there. But yeah, 15 is big, and it started with South Street for the first 7 years.
Yes, it was South Street, and then it was a Fire Brick Art Gallery, which was next door, where BC is.
Oh, yeah.
The two of
Yeah.
them together that started it, yeah.
So it's really grown, and we get, we've had artists from Grand Rapids, Lansing, all over the state of Michigan, Canada. So a lot of entries. So it's been a good 15 years for deck art. And then the Downtown Rochester Makers Market, our third annual, will be on June 21st, and applications are now available on our website.
Jen, question, for those watching who might have a receipt in their wallet or something that they want to text, what is the number that they text?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm sure I can find it quickly.
So it's Christie's personal cell phone.
Right.
Yeah, okay, it is.
Might as
All
well
right,
be.
everybody, you're going to text foodie to 866-603-4005, and then send in a picture of your receipt.
And every picture is one entry. So if you've collected receipts, you can turn in them all, and you'll get all those entries.
Thank you.
Do we have a collection of deck art boards?
We have some we purchased at our office.
But typically, the way it works is that artists, they take them back, and then any that are left over, which usually is only 20?
Yeah.
20 or so, they actually, South Street takes them, and then they,
They sell them as skateboards
For a fundraiser for the skate park.
for the skate park.
yes. So it's kind of a full circle moment back to the skate park. So we don't have just extra decks laying around, no.
Okay, well, in Colorado, they make benches out of
Yes.
skis and snowboards, so
Oh, yeah.
we could maybe keep in mind, we could make some benches for the skate park out of decks.
That'd be cool.
Place to sit when you're playing bocce ball.
Yeah,
We have applied for a grant from the Realtors Association for a $5,000 placemaking grant by the skate park, and one of the ideas was benches made out of skateboards. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. This
Great
is the
minds
beauty of
think
community right here, people. Love it. Biz Dev.
I can go to Colorado.
Follow financial report. If there's any questions, reach out to the director or myself. Business development.
Biz Dev, basically, there was a merchants parking meeting last night, and passes are going up from $20 to $30 for employees, but it's still a heck of a deal. And it's been that way for so many years, so I hope we're not going to hear too much negative feedback about that. Okay, there's also some small business counseling visits coming. It's no cost to anybody, and it could be any kind of thing you want. Business succession, it could be, any kind of planning you want, and it may be once or twice a week that someone would come. And
Yep, it's a program through Main Street Oakland County. When they used to have their one-stop shop, one of their business consultants, when that got merged into another department, moved over actually to work with Oakland County. So we've had, it's Eric Phillips, you may have met him on some of our accreditation visits. Eric's come out a couple times, he usually does it every other year, so we're in that cycle, so we're working on some dates. You can sign up for those visits ahead of time. He'll do as many as there is interest. He'll meet with the merchant for about an hour, going over whatever they're interested in talking about, and then follow up with them with additional visions. I think, Tanya, you did one with Eric, and the feedback we always get from the businesses is that it's really worthwhile time, and it's free to the business to participate, and it's free to us as a Main Street Oakland County.
Then I ended up getting business from them, and we made those Yoda bombs.
Oh, yeah.
for the-
Yeah.
We loved those.
And I used them before too, and they're great. That really helps. Another thing is openings and closings, business updates. I think we still have 97% occupancy.
Yep.
I don't think there's any open spaces right now.
Oh, their career.
So we have a couple buildings that have changed hands. They don't have tenants yet, but the new owners have ideas of what those tenants should be. I believe they're going to be self-occupying, started their own businesses, so more to come on that. But, yeah, knows lots of new things happening, but we can't say we have a lot of new businesses because we just don't have a lot of space available.
All the cool people want to be here, and there's a reason for that, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think that's about it. Tourism committee, we didn't.
Yep, which I hit on with
You
the
already
tourism,
covered it.
yeah, a little
Okay.
bit, yeah.
Thank you for your report. I appreciate it. Site, I think we already killed it, right?
Yeah, we went through everything.
All right, very good. Any other parting words of wisdom from the board? With that, thank you for your service this evening. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. And Christie.
Ben, did you watch that
You're on track
interview
to get the
between Musk
economic
and
development